Hola guys and girls, and welcome team to our week 6 match, and we are up against the Vancouver Titangs coached by Greyvee, just off an important win versus Shackle King. We are now 2-3, same record as our opponent here, as you can see, so we are both still desperate to get our wins in to still be able to stay in the playoff race. So yeah, first win achieved. Now it's time to get the second win, but we have to face a scary team for that, and especially hungry coach as well, who wants those wins. So yeah, definitely not an easy matchup, but let's go over the team. As you can see already here, he has 3 Terramons. One is the Haunter with Poison, Fighting, Electric. The Scizor with Ghost, Ice and Fighting, and of course the Greedent with Normal, Fairy and Steel. Greyvee, of course, a big fan of Greedent, so wouldn't be surprised if that thing comes with some kind of setup set with one of the Terramons. But other than that, of course, he has the big offensive threats in the Iron Hands, in the Arcanine Hisui and the Enamorous, and very annoying bulky mons like the Hisuian Gudra, the Tinglu mainly, shenanigans with Spiders, be it hazard setting, a fast Intellion, and of course the Mew, which does basically everything. It can do a lot less this gen because it's missing the recovery moves, so it's not really bulky sets, I expect. If Mew comes, it's most likely going to be some kind of setup, but which setup, physical, special, combined, Nest, Blood, Dragon Dance, what kind of card tree we have to expect, that's a bit up in the air. So yeah, really have to see what Mew does. Of course, it could just be a hazard lead as well. But yeah, these are like the only viable set Mew gets nowadays, since it lost Roost, recover all the shenanigans. The biggest offensive threat is the Hisuian Arcanine. Hisuian Arcanine with like Head Smash, Wild Charge, Flare Blitz, 2-hit KOs, if choice banned, of course, as well. 2 hits my whole team. My team is known for being very bulky, very defensive, but it's not enough for Hisuian Arcanine. So that thing is the mon I'm most terrified of. Numbers I can deal with. Iron Hands is kind of a problem as well, but I think I can deal with that. And then of course some Terramons, which could be annoying. But Hisuian Arcanine is the one I'm most worried about, because if I'm... Like I said, I can't bring a 2 passive team versus that, because that thing just destroys me. So yeah, let's go over the strategy in our team real quick, which we practiced, of course, this last week for. We still keep the mindset that people are not going to take advantage of our passiveness, of our bulkiness of the team. We are going to take advantage of the people of us expecting to be bulky, to be passive. So let's do that once more with this team right here. These 6 are going to be in the ring. I bring Danny the FLORGES, I bring you Magic, the Roaring Moon, Varvish the Talonflame, Marine the FLORGES, Barely the Corviknight, and of course Paul the Mudsdale. As you can see, only 2 really defensive mons in Paul the Mudsdale, which we can go over real quick, because this is our Fizz Def mon of choice. Leftover stamina, close to Fizz max Fizz Def, Earthquake, Heavy Slam, Body Press, and Stealth Rock. Earthquake just there as main stab move, of course. Heavy Slam to hit the main ground immunity, which is the the Enamorous, and hit it for super strong damage. And then Body Press for mons like the, as you can see, for Tinglu, there we go. Tinglu could be annoying switch in, so we do good damage to body press as well, especially if he gets some stamina boost. This body press does massive damage, and yeah, this is our initial switch into Arcanine. If he goes for Head Smash, we say good job Monster, you take that well. If he goes for Flare Blitz, we can take them because of stamina boosts, but only once. Like after we take 1 Flare Blitz, and he will switch out, and then we have to switch into Flare Blitz again. Then it's a different story. Then it depends on his rolls, it depends on his vest and all this good stuff. But yeah, basically I said, okay, this is my first switch into Hisuian Arcanine. I will switch it every time in, get up my rocks, get some chip damage with Heavy Slam, Earthquake shenanigans. But after Mudsdale is gone, I'm just accepting the fact that Hisuian Arcanine will get a kill every time it comes in, and the mon which is in front of it has to be able to deal with it. So yeah, that's my approach versus that thing. Other than that, of course, it's good versus other physically offensive mons opponent has, be it the Iron Hands, be it potentially physical Mew. We can do good damage to Earthquake, and yeah, with enough stamina boosts, basically nothing physical breaks us. Of course, a mixed Mew could be annoying. Special threats are of course there as well. But Paul, you're mainly there to basically switch in once at least onto the Hisuian Arcanine and the other Brox, and then maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but basically your one-time switch in, and then we can see how we can deal with the rest. Next up, we got Talonflame with a bulky variant, still with some attack investment. This is mainly there for the Enamorous, because Enamorous just doesn't get coverage for Talonflame. Fairy resist, Mystical Fire resist, Earth Power resist. Psychic is the best thing on the special side, and on the physical side there's really nothing. The thing I have to scared of, I resist player, I resist the superpower. I can get some Flame Body burns on that if it's physical. And then Flare Blitz just is my strong step to hit that thing. U-turn for momentum, Roost of course recovery, Defog because we don't bring Defog on Corviknight. Once again we have set up Corviknight here, so we don't want to waste the slot with Defog on that. Big problem with this thing, of course, we don't hit Hisuian Arcanine. This is like what I'm most scared about if I use Talonflame. It's such a good check to Enormous Eye, but this just it doesn't get coverage for Hisuian Arcanine. So every time this thing comes in, I have to be very careful when I want to click something else than U-turn, because otherwise the Hisuian Arcanine comes in and problems are afoot. Let's say it like this. So yeah, Varbish, you're going to be U-turning most of the time, barring Mustang is still healthy or the Hisuian Arcanine is dead, something like that. But that's the plan with Varbish, the Talonflame. Next up, we got Expert Belt, Roaring Moon, Magic with Crunch, Ironhead, Earthquake, and U-turn. Enough speed for the fastest Mon Greyvee could have. Intelligent, of course, is faster than us, but we are faster than Enormous Eye with that. And with that coverage, we had close to everything on the team for super effective damage. Let's check the team real quick and let's go over it. Haunter, Crunch. Intelligent, we don't sadly hit, but Hisuian Arcanine, Earthquake, Ironhead for the Enormous, Crunch for the Mew, Earthquake for the Iron Hands, Crunch for the Decidueye. Gradient, we don't have to effectively before Terras. Hisuian Gruta, we got Earthquake, and then for the Tinglu, we got U-turn. Spidops, we don't hit. So a lot of the team hits for super effective damage. Depending on what his Terras are, we might even hit more or maybe a little bit less. But I think the Expert is definitely worth it to get some nice damage boost on all our attacks. And yeah, that's basically the job of Roaring Moon here. Be bulky a little bit with the HP investment. We can take some special hits from the special mons which are not named Enormous Eye. And yeah, just be fast and everything and get some good damage and start to get U-turn around all this stuff. It's just a fast one which is good at revenge killing stuff, barring the Scarfers of course. And Italion, since the Roaring Moon is especially rather bulky, especially with the HP investment we have, we can take the Ice Beams and do good damage with that as well. So that's the way to go with Magic the Roaring Moon. Next up, we go with Danny the Frostless with Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Water Pulse, and Spikes, and the Life Orb. Once again, enough speed for the Enormous Eye. Ice Beam, Shadow Ball is just great coverage for a team. We hit a lot of things for super effective, strong damage. Beat the Enormous Eye with Ice Beam, Mew with Shadow Ball. Basically, that's how you prep with Mew. That's why I have Roaring Moon as well. You prep basically with Mew, but having faster mons, which have strong, super effective stab with that. That's why we have Roaring Moon, and we have the Frostless. So it doesn't really matter what kind of Mew set it is, physical, special. We always have some kind of way to have a way to revenge kill it, barring its speed boosting, but then it's not that strong on the side, so we can hit it there. Spikes, of course, because we want hazards up, we want chip damage on our opponents, and Water Pulse only there, you already guessed it, for the Hisuian Arcanine, because Ice Beam is probably the move I want to click the most. Into that, Hisuian Arcanine switched in, I don't kill a Shadow Ball, but then I can most likely surprise him with the Water Pulse. I am fast and I can probably OHKO him already. Like after Spike or after Shadow Ball, the Water Pulse will OHKO the Hisuian Arcanine. So that's my hope, that I can catch it off guard with the Frostless after switch into an Ice Beam. We'll spam Ice Beam most of the early game to basically bait this thing in, bait the Hisuian Arcanine in, and then surprise him with the Water Pulse. Or just set up spikes and he maybe wants to play offensive and spit that in over that. But yeah, that's why we have Frostless on the team. Next up, our two setup mons. We first got Moraine, the FLORGES, Pixie Plate, Terra Ground with Trailblaze. Very speedy, with enough speed that after Trailblaze we are faster than a max speed Inteleon, so only opposing Scarfers could be faster than us after Trailblaze. And after One Call Mind with Pixie Plate boosted Moonblast and Terra Ground Terra Blast, there is nothing that takes these hits well. Here's like everything I hit super effectively with that, like be it with Fairy or Ground, basically dies and can't really do too much against us. At +2, I OHKO close to everything, if not like barring like Super Spit of Mew or something like that. But with his Fairy Resist, if you look at the team real quick, his Fairy Resist are either the Hisuian Arcanine, the Haunter, and that's it. And yeah, potentially Terra Steel on the Gradient. So with Terra Blast Beat, all of those for super good damage, barring the Haunter, of course, Levitate, but that thing is not really the resist with the bulk it has. With Terra Blast Beat, of course, the Hisuian Gudra for bigger, better damage as well. So I decided to go with Terra Ground. Not really for defensive utility, mainly for the offensive utility of having a strong Terra Blast versus the Fairy Resist I already mentioned. Potentially it could work out if like Iron Hands is in, wants to go for Wild Charge instead of Heavy Slam for some reason, and I can be immune to that and get like a free Trailblaze, free Calm Mind, something like that. But mostly is there to get a good, strong ground coverage for the Hisuian Gudra and already the Hisuian Arcanine as well. All the Hisuian mons we want to hit with the Earthquake. But yeah, that's basically the idea with Moraine. Trailblaze is what I want to prioritize the most, so I'm an offensive threat. And then depending on what he switches in, if that's like a special mon, I can just start Core Minding, then all the better, and this FLORGES can just go in. But FLORGES is mainly used a little bit earlier in the match, what I want to use late in the match, or that depends actually on what kind of team he brings and what is chipped. But another setup mon I try to sweep with in the end is a bulky one, which is Iron Defense Corviknight. With Iron Head, Body Press, and Roost. A little bit of mostly speed def, enough speed so we can outspeed a max speed Adamant Iron Hands, so we don't have to worry about that too much. And yeah, basically after I get like a few Iron Defenses up, he doesn't kill me. There's like nothing that kills me. And Body Press just does massive damage to everything. The things that don't hit with Body Press, I hit with Iron Head super good. Mainly the main thing which I don't hit with Body Press is of course the Namorous Eye, which is crowd resistant to that. But yeah, Iron Head of course I have stab, super effect damage versus that. And yeah, there's actually a lot of mons I can potentially get these Iron Defenses off, because a lot of the mons he has don't really touch me too well. Spidops, if it doesn't have Circle Throw, I can set up on. The Enamorous I can potentially set up on depending on how strong its fire moves are. And what else? The Sunguja potentially I can set up on depending on like a lot of mons, if they're not like set up themselves or boosting item, they're set up for this kind of Corviknight. And like I said, I'm faster than the Iron Hands. After a few Iron Defenses, like 1 or 2, I don't take too much from the Wild Charge, actually just boost up on that. And yeah, that's the idea with Corviknight, which I think is very threatening for his team in this set right here, especially with the speed. So Iron Hands will have some trouble revenge killing me. I can get like let's say he chips me down to like 30% where I would die to a Wild Charge. I don't think he would expect me to be fast. I can just roost off, Wild Charges neutral versus me, and boom, I'm healthy again. I can go for another Iron Defense to take the hits better, stuff like that, all these shenanigans. I think this Corviknight actually will put in a lot of work, but that is this team basically. The idea is just to have some offensive threats to make sure his offensive threats don't get out of hand, have affliction here and there, mainly for the Namorous, and then a little bit for the Azure Arcanine. This thing is just such a problem. If he predicts me correctly, like I could have brought, like I said, I could have brought Dondozo, then I have like a switch in for Hand Smash in my Mudsdale, I have a switch into Flare Blitz with my Dondozo, of course, but then, like, what do I take out? Like, I want the Talonflame, of course, to be bulky for other things. Then, like, I take FLORGES, Frostess, or Roaring Moon out, and then I have 4 defensive mons, and that is exactly what I don't want to do. I don't want to be that passive, so I kind of just accepted the fact that the Azure Arcanine will do massive damage to my team, and that forces me basically to play a bit more proactive, but gives me tools to be more proactive as well, which I think is very important. But yeah, that's basically the strategy for this match. Let's go on the field and show them what we can do. We are here to get our second win of the 4-win streak we are planning to have and go into playoffs, get the championship. That's what we're going to do. Let's do it. Let's go to the field. Let's get him. Let's win. Roll out, Dawn fans.